So guys, recently there's been some information data mined which specifies what exactly happens to our artifact weapons following our conflict with the Legion. Although the exact details aren't really available at the moment, we do have a pretty good picture as to what happens to our weapons. So just a warning guys, if you don't want any spoilers for the future of the upcoming patch and want to see it on live for yourself, then go ahead and hop on off of this video because the information we will be covering will have spoilers. So at the start of the Legion invasion, everyone who was up to current content got the chance to acquire an artifact weapon, whether that be the Shards of Frostmourne, Ashbringer, Doomhammer, or what have you. We all got to run around with these legendary weapons from Warcraft's history because, reasons. Not a lot of people fancied the idea of having thousands of High Lords, Valajar leaders, and Death Lords running around, all wielding legendary weapons that only the most badass characters of Warcraft have wielded in the past, but I have to say that the manner in which we go about actually getting rid of our weapons as opposed to obtaining them is actually much better. For those of you guys who haven't paid too much attention to Blizzard's statements and the information regarding artifact weapons, just to bring you guys up to speed, for quite a bit of time now, a lot of people have been questioning what will happen to our artifact weapons after the 2-year marker. Once this expansion runs out, will our weapons carry over to the next expansion? And will we never have weapons to loot again in future raids? And the simple answer is no. We will not have our weapons carrying over into Battle for Azeroth, as stated by Blizzard for quite a bit of time. However, only recently has information arisen as to how we actually go about losing our weapons. When we raided the Burning Throne, but just before we managed to place Sargeras in a state of stasis, Sargeras manages to do one last thing that really screws us over. Well, in-game. In-game it sucks, but in real life, hey, that's just more content for us. He stabs Azeroth with his giant toothpick, causing Azeroth great pain and completely damaging the zone of Silithus. A shame, really. It was so beautiful before. This is good and bad. On the bright side, we managed to stop Sargeras before he could completely cleave our world in two, but on the bad side, Sargeras was ripped away from our planet and didn't take his sword with him, meaning that the sword is stuck in Azeroth right now, constantly pulsating and corrupting our Titan world soul. Through the data mine dialogue of Magni Bronzebeard, this is what we discover is happening to Azeroth. Future apologies for the butchering of this accent. The sword of Sargeras is poisoning the very lifeblood of the world. The only vessels capable of containing that kind of power are the mighty weapons you wield. Raise them up as one. Draw out the corruption from the Dark Titan's blade. Together, champions, for Azeroth. There is also an in-game cutscene titled Artifact Weapon Retirement, but this cutscene is unavailable to be seen at this time and most likely will remain that way until this event hits live, seeing as to how cutscenes usually don't make it into the PTR, or if they do, they are really in the alpha stage, such as how in the PTR for Arcus, we don't see the cutscene of Illidan fighting Zira, but we also saw an early preview of the Agrimar cutscenes. After the sword strikes Azeroth in the live client, we can see that the zone is entirely scarred. All life which has existed here previously, which was like one scorpion, is now dead. All towns and hubs in this area are laid to waste. The only area that is perfectly intact is on Kiraj. The grounds are also completely saturated with corruption. The raw power of the fallen titan emanating from his sword can still be seen pulsating and oozing continuously despite Sargeras now being jailed. Something has to be done, and it's in our hands to do that something. In patch 7.3.5, the heroes of Azeroth will all chip in and combine the powers of the artifacts to cleanse the corruption from Sargeras' weapon and the lands, which is most likely the reason as to why the wound in patch 7.3.5 looks different to the wound now. The sword in Silithus has changed after this event, hence why there is a cube in the place of the original model. It has not been put into the PTR yet. Our weapons have nullified the corrupting powers emanating from the Titan's sword, or perhaps suppressed it, sparing Azeroth from constant pain yet relieving us of our legendary weapons. You can even see the red scarring turn to yellow, which is either a product of us cleansing the weapon or maybe Azeroth is healing. Whatever the reason is, I for one find that this is a pretty good way to ride out our weapons. It really beats the alternative of having the people who gave them to us in the first place asking for them back, and it's a much more logical way of riding them out rather than how they gave them to us in the first place. Having all of us combine our weapons to rid Azeroth of the corruption of Sargeras' blade is much easier to accept than having all of us spawn glitch in Ashbringers until we have a million duplicates. However, the question still remains, what damage has been done? Despite us lending our powers to cleanse Azeroth from the lingering corruption, there is still damage. Azeroth was stabbed in Silithus, and the sword remained there for quite a bit of time until we actually got around to cleansing it. So what happens to the corruption corruption that Azeroth has already absorbed prior to us coming to the wound and purifying the area. We already know that Sargeras was planning on building his own corrupted version of the Pantheon, and we know now that it is possible to corrupt the Titan, especially a nascent one. So what harm has been done to Azeroth? Well, only time will tell. That's pretty much it to this video, guys. What do you guys think of how we got rid of our weapon? I for one think that it's a pretty damn good way to write off the weapons while still instilling the image of how powerful Sargeras is. Even in stasis, he still poses such a big threat with the actions that he has done that we have to combine the world's strongest weapons in order to just nullify the danger that his weapon poses. And that weapon, he isn't even there to wield it. One can only imagine what would have happened had he not been in stasis. We would either be dead right now or fighting his giant toenail. Once again, guys, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit the notification bell next to the sub button so you can stay caught up with the channel. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later.